What will happen when Logan is forced to come face to face with the true secret origins of adamantium? Well, let's hop into the pages of Wolverine issue number 4 and find out what happens next together, shall we? So then, picking up from where the last issue left off, Wolverine and his brand new tag-along ward, Leonard the Wendigo, escape Department K and make it to safety over the border. Of course, this young Wendigo still has a long way to go, and Wolverine still has a lot to teach him when it comes to controlling his animal bloodlust. How do they choose to try and remedy this problem? Well, the same way us Canadians deal with most of our problems, shirtless wrestling in the backyard, eh? Seriously, hats off to the art team on this one. Wolverine looks like a short king Brillo pad, and as a deeply hairy Canuck myself, personally, I just love that I'm finally getting some real deal representation in media again. Wolverine is serious about playing the role of teacher too. He even bought the two a cabin somewhere out in the wilderness where they won't be disturbed. And indeed, they've slowly but surely started to make some progress. Leonard is speaking some words now and actually eating meat that's not on two legs for a change. Of course, as is always sadly the case in this situation, trouble always ends up finding Logan even when he's trying his hardest to stay away from it over the police scanner. Logan hears about a massive traffic accident nearby and then he ends up smelling the smoke and the blood. At first he thinks that this might just be a regular truck crash, but after suiting up in the old blue and yellow and going to investigate, Logan quickly realizes that this is a prisoner transport that got hit. And who is the prisoner in this situation? Well, none other than the Constrictor, and he is absolutely unhappy about all of this. He was super stoked that someone reached out to him on the inside and said that they were going to try and spring him while he was getting moved to a different prison. But now he's on the side of the road in the freezing cold and he's come face to face with Wolverine. I mean, this is really not this guy's day, right? As far as Constrictor goes, he's a mostly forgettable D-list loser villain who is only elevated by the rather interesting factor that those tendrils he used to fight just so happened to be laced with adamantium. In a very funny exchange too, Constrictor has been in prison so long he actually asks Wolverine, aren't all you mutants supposed to be on an island? Before Wolverine eventually ends up making short work of this guy. In fact, he passes out due to fear. Now obviously Constrictor isn't smart enough to put together a prison break like this, and the true mastermind behind it is ultimately revealed to be none other than Lady Deathstrike. Deathstrike attacks Logan, which isn't weird, though Wolverine notes that she's very much acting out of character right now. She's silent where normally she loves big flowery speeches. In fact, it's only when Lady Deathstrike ends up popping her own adamantium claws does Wolverine begin to realize something is up now. It's not the regular silver metal that he's used to. Instead, it's that strange otherworldly gold stuff we saw jump onto Cyber at the end of the first issue. In fact, the whole situation only ends up growing even crazier from there. Lady Deathstrike ends up grabbing Constrictor and turning his silver metal gold as well, before eventually speaking in another worldly voice that isn't her own. She says that Wolverine has been deafened by the sounds and clanging of the false metal, that he does not know the deep, dark, ancient truth of the Adamantine. Now, what does any of that actually mean? Well, that's still kind of up in the air at the moment, but as the comic comes to a close, Lady Deathstrike ends up touching Wolverine and kind of opening his third eye. As the comic comes to a close, Logan ends up seeing all sorts of crazy visions of human and metal fused together in days long past before we eventually end up getting a very cool look inside Wolverine's own skeleton as his metal is slowly but surely changed. And so that was Wolverine issue number 4, everybody, and once again, I'm really enjoying what Saladin Ahmed is laying down here. In fact, I think this has all the makings of a pretty classic Wolverine run so far. We got some cool mystery and intrigue involving the Adamantine, this secret, forgotten golden strain of adamantium that we've never seen before, which would be compelling enough on its face, but I actually really like this idea that Wolverine is continuing to work with this young Wendigo kid, trying to help him out, trying to help him not just be another savage killer. I think it speaks a lot to Wolverine's character, and well, I always love those kind of stories where Wolverine has a job and mission in mind, but something else just ends up pulling him back over and over again. This also serves as a really nice showcase for some of the more forgotten adamantium using villains like Constrictor and like Cyber. I gotta wonder, how deep is this story going to go and how many other characters are they going to end up roping into this, especially when we stop and consider that there is a lot of characters out there who have adamantium in them one way or another. Art's also really solid too. I mentioned it before, but it bears repeating. I love how they really capture this sort of Jack London wilderness adventure. Everything feels cold and I like that. Overall, I think I feel comfortable giving this one another another 8 out of 10, and honestly, between this book and Daredevil, Saladin Ahmed has ended up having one hell of a 2024, hasn't he?
Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched at the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.